Princess Connect Redive Season 2 had absolutely no business being this good. It's like they listened to my criticisms for Season 1 and was like, oh yeah, we can fix that, no problem. Like, I didn't like in Season 1 how little attention they actually paid to the main characters. So what do? They put entire episodes dedicated to our main cast and their conflicts with each other, diving into the princesses secretly being a princess, showing the relationship with the only other member on the team that ends up knowing, except for the one that's secretly a spy, which they also focus on her relationship with her sort of mentor figure in the main antagonist, while also conflicting relationship with being part of the heroes party, and how this sort of like is internally tearing her apart. We even focus on the actual male lead of the show, who was so far just been a lobotomite, but we actually see how he got to where he is, which answers another problem I had with not knowing what the fuck was happening. It explains what's happening, how he got here, and over the course of this, he ends up developing more of his own personality. One would say refining his personality, probably. As we can imagine, this is probably pretty close to what his original personality was. I also like that when it was revealed that he's basically been restarting, seemingly more than once based on what the main villain said, over and over again to try and get like the perfect timeline, that this is the timeline where everything was arranged just perfectly enough where he's like, nah, send me back in. We're going to do it this time. I think it goes to a really impactful moment and really shows almost a sort of development in his character, in that in the past, he clearly didn't have faith that they were going to make it through, but now he had faith in this crew that they were the ones that were going to be able to actually defeat the main antagonist. And there's also a really good arc with the main antagonist where you can see throughout the course of this that she's slowly gaining more conflict about what she's actually doing. There's these like hints about where she's uncertain, and it sort of pervades her entire character. And I think it tips at a really good moment, because you see her constantly struggling with not being a horribly evil monster. And then when she has the opportunity to turn around and not go full evil, she goes all the way full evil. And then the characters end up going with their original purpose, which is to like eat all the best food in the world together. And Carl, who's like the spy that was working for her, like I mentioned previously, has an interestingly almost sisterly relationship with this woman. And so at the end, she ends up, betraying her for the party, but she still reaches out and extends the hands to the villain. And at this point, the villain's fucking defeated. So the villain's the villain's doing that classic, no, I want to die thing. And Carl's like, I'm not going to fucking let you. And so at the end, they manage to save the villain. What I appreciate is one of the final shots we get from the villain is her in fucking handcuffs, which shows she's sort of on the road to redemption, and they're still going to eat that food together, which is, I think, even mentioned from June, who's like the head of the Royal Guard, who's been working for her also this whole time due to mind control reasons. And it seems like they're still going to eat that food with her, but she's not out of the woodworks yet, because she's in trouble for trying to murder everyone in the capital, and she should be. Speaking of which, what a malevolent speech she had in this, let me tell you, because during a fight scene where the princess is fighting this golem, she ends up getting like teleported to confronting the main villain, who explains that she stole all of the people's memories from the princess, and she implied, we know she's like trying to steal the princess's soul and try to make her as miserable as possible for some sort of unknown reason, but it doesn't really matter. But she's like, I'm gonna do it again. And like this concept of this like villain going out of their way to steal your identity over and over again, so you have to constantly be restarting, is so fucking sinister that I'm not gonna lie to you, I will steal it for a D&D campaign at some point. Also, we gotta talk about the fights, because I mentioned in the first season that it felt like none of the fights really have any consequences, which I should bring up is completely done away with in this season, because so many of the fights have this sort of like narrative weight of either the villain is progressing her plot, or it's an emotional conflict between the characters, or there's that one fight, which I'm just gonna call the God fight, which we're gonna have to get into in a second, where a character just seemingly dies. And can we talk about the god fight? Because I don't know, like, they're not gods per se, although supposedly, according to the lore of the series, which we find out about in this season, they created the god of the world, so maybe they are gods. but it is the closest I've seen to what I imagine a god fight would be. Like, a character summons an uncountable amount of bladed weapons. One character, like, creates demi-planes and, like, teleports the main antagonist into a volcano and then launches meteors at each other. There's a scene where like, Labyrinth is, like, fleeing through these, like, rectangular demi-planes as uncountable blades fly at her. And then that's not to mention that at one point, the two characters just throw small moons at each other. It is fucking batshit crazy. Also, the animation of this season is fucking spectacular. We're talking like movie-grade animation for like a 12-episode TV series in fucking... The studio is like Cygames Pictures. Have you ever fucking heard of them? I've never fucking heard of them. They are unreasonably good at animating in this season. And the crazy thing is, it's the same studio as season 1, and I think there was only like 2-year difference, and it is crazy the difference between the animation quality in season 1 and season 2. Like, this show looks genuinely fantastic. And it's not just the fight scenes, it's like every little bit of every scene. Like, when at one point a character trips over a log and the log breaks and you see the individual wood splinters. It's fucking nuts how much effort they put into all of this. Fantastic lighting on the scenes, for the record. Even like the direction was pretty damn good. It is just like absurd that I never would have expected Princess Connect to have gone from season 1 all the way to this. This is the most insane lateral jump I can actually remember. Maybe I'm probably forgetting some other stuff that's done this, but this is such a massive uptick in quality. So this anime came out in 2022. I have not done a full deep dive on 2022 anime yet. I'm still on that 2020, which is why I watched season 1 in the first place. I think Princess Connect might have been 2019, but whatever, who cares? Doesn't matter. Point is, I did look over the other like 20 plus anime I have seen from that year, and I will say just how high quality this is. It is currently the highest ranked thing I have from 2022, but like, this could seriously be, when I get around to the 2022 anime, this could be an anime of the year. Twitch and Discord in the description. I've been Sacrobolic. You're Envoy of Hope. Bye bye.